Hello, welcome to our Neuro Movement Breathing for Life program. My name is Anat Baniel. I'm going to guide you through a 5-minute body scan. I strongly recommend you do this scan each day just before you do the 20-minute Neuro Movement Breathing for Life lesson. The reason for doing this scan is to potentiate your brain into a powerful learning process. Each time you do this scan, you get better at sensing and noticing yourself, your body, and changes in how you're moving and breathing. Research shows that the ability to pay attention to what we feel as we move is a powerful and necessary driver for positive brain change and transformations in how we move. When you do this scan before each of the neuro movement lessons, you will be primed for even more powerful and immediate outcomes. Please make sure you have a comfortable surface to lie on, and please lie on your back. Make sure you have your shoes off. Have the arms on either side of you, comfortably on the ground. And first of all, just have a general scan, just a feeling of yourself lying down on a surface. And whether it feels comfortable or not, or parts are comfortable and others are not. Pay attention to your breath. Do not change it. Do not try to breathe fuller or deeper or differently. Make sure your legs are comfortably spread. And now locate in your inner feeling, your inner sensation, the right heel, your right heel that's lying on the ground or on a mat or on a bed, wherever it is, and feel the place of contact. Sense where is the heel coming in touch with the ground and the direction the foot is lying in. And then follow up the right leg, the contact of the lower leg with the floor, the back of the right knee, feel whether it's touching the ground or not, the thigh, all the way up to your hip joint. Now do the same thing with your left leg. Your left heel, the contact of your lower left leg with the floor, behind the left knee, and your left thigh, all the way up to the hip joint. And now, shift your attention and feel the contact of the back of your pelvis with the ground. And notice whether the right side and the left side touch the floor or whatever you're lying on equally or not. And just notice which parts are clear, which parts are, not very clear, or maybe even missing, even though you know they're there. And now shift your attention to your shoulders and your shoulder blades and feel the contact of your shoulder blades with the ground. And compare the surface that's touching and the feeling of the contact between the right shoulder blade and the left shoulder blade. And then from the right shoulder, go down along your arm all the way to the tips of your fingers. From your left shoulder, go down along the left arm all the way to the tips of your fingers. And now feel the contact of the back of your head with the floor. And notice whether it feels like it's in the middle, or maybe a little bit to the left of your head, or maybe a little bit to the right. And now go back to your spine and feel the contact of your ribs with the ground. On the right side, and feel how they come to the side and curve up a little bit and go towards your sternum. And feel the ribs on your left side and feel how they go to the side, come around, and come up in an angle towards the sternum. And now, once again, just get a scan or get a feeling of your whole body, as much of it as you can at once. And the feeling that you get, the sensation, how does it feel to lie down like that? And how does the contact feel? And just once again, without changing anything, notice how you breathe. And thank you. We are ready to move into our neuro movement breathing lesson now.
Are you hearing me now? So I've been talking around, and apparently we haven't been able to hear me. So obviously we're having some issues with our technical stuff, and I can't seem to get everything to turn off here. Okay, sorry about that. Obviously, we're live. I'm Pete from Learning Strategies, and we're presenting this Neuromovement Healing Fest for you for these next 10 days. And we had problems. We had Anat and her team all ready to get going. And then just as we're ready to go live, we lost them. And so our video crew, James down in Arkansas, is doing his very best to get everything reconnected again. And the whole idea of what we want to be doing during this week is we want to be doing these 10 different neuromovement lessons so that we can get better capacity, a better use out of our lungs. And that's really important for really anything that we want to do. I mean, just for our everyday living, we want to have as much oxygen flowing through our system as we possibly can, because that way the brain will work all the better. But if you have any type of performance things, like if you need a lot of oxygen because of sports, this is another thing. Or if you have any respiratory issues, whether it's allergies or viruses like the flu or COVID-19 or anything else. This really helps build up that lung capacity so that you can use what we have. Now, if you watch the introduction video that we had, you would have learned that the lungs itself, there aren't any muscles in the lung that breathe the lungs. It's the whole rest of the body that does the breathing. The muscles will bring the air in, suck the air in, and then push the air out. What we're doing this week is we're getting all of the bones and the systems of the body working in unison or working together so that we can get more value and more capacity out of our lung system. And when we do these sessions, there's basically one set of lessons that we're doing every day. And we're going live with it at this time, which is 4 o'clock Central Time. And not should be on any moment of taking over the session. But when we do this, please come in 6 minutes beforehand and watch the video and do that body scan. The body scan is really important because what the body scan does is it allows you to become aware of what's actually going on in your body, where there is tension, where there is relaxation, where there's connection to the ground, and so on and so forth. And why this is important is so that when you do the actual movements themselves, you're able to notice what's going on, and you can make any adjustments that you need to also. So it's really, really important. Now, I'm not an expert in the neuromovement as Anat is, but here's one of the things that I've learned. I've done a neuromovement now for several years. And there are times I've kind of fast forwarded through the body scan session, just went right into the movements. I tell you, I've always gotten better results when I do the body scan first. And the better results I can label in 2 ways. One of them is what I feel when I'm going through it or right after. But the biggest thing is how long does the results last? How long do I feel it? And when I do that body scan, I tend to be more engaged with the movements and I have better results with it over the days after I first do that. Now, every day after we go live on these sessions, a recording will be immediately available. And you'll have 24 hours. Actually, we're expanded it to 48 hours. So if you miss a session, you have 48 hours. That's 2 full days to catch up on it. Just go to the same web page and the video will be there for you. And if you choose, you can order a set of the recordings. You can actually upgrade to receive the recordings permanently in your online digital library. And how that works is quite simple. If you slide on the screen where you're at right now, you should see an upgrade link. And you'll see it at that point, all of the sessions will appear in your library. 24 hours after we have a live session, we'll put them in your library. They'll be in your library by then. And then that way that you can then have access to them and do them at your convenience. And not only at your convenience now for these first 10 days, but also as time goes on. So I've noticed in the past when I've done that, when I've used some of the other neuromovement programs, there are times I want to go back to the program, especially when something isn't working right. And it's usually related to when I'm out working on the property and out in the gardens and I'll do something and I need to have everything back. But also as any type of stress, anything that comes at you can kind of jar your body-brain connection. And neuromovements really helps bring that all back together for you. So that's one reason you'd want to have it in your library. Another reason that you want to have it in your library is that if there's any conditions that you have right now, if you are sick with anything, especially anything that requires your breathing system, you'll want to do these sessions 1, 2, or maybe even 3 times a day. And they're only 20 minutes long, so they don't take a whole lot of time. But if you have something that's wrong with you, you might find that the sessions would do a huge benefit for you. And then that's another reason why you'd want to have it in your library. Now, the library, once you get them in your library, you just go to learningstrategies.com and there'll be a web page up on the on the top right of our main page. You'll see My Library, and click there. That'll bring you into your library. Now, my understanding is that everything is all set and that Anat is ready to go. And as soon as I can get a hi sign from anybody, I will pass. Okay, take it away, Anat. Welcome to the Neuromovement Healing Path. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Neuro Movement Breathing for Life program, to the first lesson, the first movement lesson. In this 10 neuromovement lessons, we're looking for you to expand your breathing capacity and breathing freedom. Please do the movements slowly and gently, and always start small. Look to avoid pain, and if you do experience pain in any of the movements, then just shift to doing the movement in your imagination. Today's lesson will focus on what we call in this program the players. That means some of the different parts that normally participate in breathing. The players we're focusing on today are the spine, ribs, shoulder blades, lower back, and sternum. And the way we work promotes the mapping of those areas in the brain and increasing the freedom of movement in these parts so that they can help us actually breathe better. So first, please lie on your back and take a few seconds to feel the contact you have with the floor. Those of you who did the scan, then you're really already deeply clued in. And if you haven't had the chance or you didn't know about doing the scan before the lesson, I recommend that you do this in the upcoming lessons. And now, as you're lying on your back, slowly just breathe naturally, normally through your nose. And then once you're finished inhaling through your nose, open your mouth wide, keep it wide open, and very, very slowly exhale. So just do this movement, breathe in naturally, and the way you normally do, if you can, through your nose, and then open your mouth wide and let the air come out as slowly as you can. The next time you do it, you do the same thing in terms of the inhalation, but then you open your mouth again wide and internally count as you breathe out. It's important to count pretty quickly, not extremely quick, but like I'd give you a rhythm, you can choose your own, but something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And keep track how many tens you exhale. You may exhale only half of the first 10. You may exhale, 4 tens. But just do that maybe 2-3 times to just get a baseline that you can compare it to at the end of this lesson and in each lesson that we do. So again, you breathe in through the nose and then you, with your mouth closed, and then you open the mouth wide. If you can, leave the tongue free, lying on the lower jaw and inside the lower jaw, and then exhale very slowly and count in tens. And do it one more time. And now stop that, just breathe any way you'd like. Bend your knees and put your feet standing, spread. Comfortably, have the feet close to your pelvis where it feels comfortable and apart from each other, and the knees are also apart. And now cross your right knee, your right leg over the left one. And if anybody has difficulty crossing all the way through, just put halfway down the lower leg or whatever you can do. And now in this position, gently, slowly, start with a small movement. Begin tilting your knees to the right and bringing them back. And see if you can start with a movement much smaller than you could actually do. There's a huge advantage for starting small. So start small and come back, and then you can, make it bigger. Just make sure to stay in your area of comfort. And as you tilt the knees further, notice how the pressure on the pelvis travels towards your right hip joint in the back of the pelvis. And then feel how there is some twisting in the spine, and that your ribs, pay attention if you can feel any of your ribs moving. Perhaps you can even feel some pull, some movement on your sternum. And now continue doing the movement of tilting the knees to the right. At the same time, when you begin tilting the knees to the right, begin together with the movement of the pelvis and the legs. Turn your head to the right and come back. So you coordinate, you synchronize the movement of the legs with the movement of the head, or you can think of it as if you're synchronizing the movement of your pelvis with the movement of your head, which is basically the same thing. So look to do it so the head does not run in front of the pelvis, and the pelvis does not run in front of the head or ahead of the head. And now open your eyes, look at the ceiling, and as you tilt your knees and as you turn your head to the right, with your eyes follow closely the ceiling, as smoothly as you can, and then you get to a wall. If you continue turning the head, as long as the pelvis and the legs are continuing to move, look down the wall. And then when you come back, do the same thing. Do as smooth as movement as you can, looking back up the wall, up to the ceiling until you're in the middle again. So you follow with the eyes, you look at the wall, you look at the ceiling, and you bring everything to the middle. And notice that most people in the beginning don't have a very smooth movement, and the eyes tend to do big jumps, and it takes a while to do that. But now close your left eye only. Keep the right eye open. Do the same movement, except this time you're looking only through your right eye. So you look at the ceiling, you look at the wall, you turn the head, you tilt the knees, and you do all that together. And if you have any space left at all in your ability to notice, in your awareness, pay attention to what you feel in terms of movement in your ribs, in your spine, in your lower back, which is part of the spine, of course, your neck. And now next time you do the movement, switch over the eyes. That means close the right eye, keep the left eye open, and again, tilt the legs, turn the head, synchronized with the pelvis, look out your left eye as smoothly as you can, and go just as far as you're comfortable, and come back like that. And do that again. And now, next time you do it, open both eyes and do the movement. That means you're tilting the knees, you're turning the head, you're following with your eyes slowly, slowly, the ceiling and the wall down towards the ground. And notice if the movement is a bit different. Perhaps a little softer, perhaps you can do a little bit more without stretching or pushing. And now stop that, straighten your legs, spread them, straighten them down, and just feel for a few seconds how you're lying. And if there's any change that you sense in the contact you have with the floor, and also if the right side perhaps feels different than the left. Perhaps one leg feels longer than the other. Perhaps one side of the chest feels wider than the other. Perhaps one side of your face feels different than the other. And now bend your knees, put your feet standing. Again, cross the right knee over the left. And now put your left arm in front of your chest, bend your elbow and put your left arm on your chest, basically, and get a hold with your right hand, your left wrist from above. There you go. And now, what you're going to do is you're going to tilt the knees to the right, turn the head to the right. You can keep the eyes open or closed at this time, and you're going to pull with your right hand on your left arm, lengthening it also to the right. But you're not rolling completely on your side. So go ahead and give it a try. You tilt the knees to the right, and you lengthen the arm, but not up above your head, but across your chest. So it's in front of your sternum. So you tilt. If you take the right elbow above your head, you will be pulling the arm above your head. The elbow goes straight to the side. Both arms go straight. No, you're taking it above. You hold your right hand, look here, you hold your right hand with your left hand, and as you tilt the knees, you simply cross it just in front of the chest. And see if you can avoid taking it above if you do this, it's above your head. If you do this, it's downwards. And here it's just in front of the chest. And one of the things that it calls upon is for the shoulder blade, especially the left one, and the upper third of the ribs on the left side of your back to start moving. That for many people, these don't move much at all. And now, as you do this movement, coordinate turning the head to the right, taking the knees to the right, and pulling on the arm to the right. Back and forth. And feel, some of you it might be really easy and feel kind of natural and it being at home, and for many of you this might be initially foreign. That's one of the reasons we're doing it. We're expanding the mapping of different parts in the body dynamically. That means relationships between the parts. There's a whole lot of differentiation that it calls for, and that means new connections in the brain. And maybe you can free your fingers of your left arm. They don't need to be tight. They don't have much to do. And now, as you do this movement, at the same time, turn the head and the eyes to the left. So you tilt the knees and you take the arm to the right, but you turn the head to the left. And you come back to the middle. And next time you do this movement, soften it. That means reduce unnecessary effort. Unnecessary efforts always impede or interfere with breathing. There we go. And now do it one more time together, the head to the right, the arms to the right, and the knees to the right, and see if that became a little easier and clearer. And leave that alone and rest for a moment. Put your arms down, the legs down, and rest. And feel if you notice a difference between the right side and the left side. And just for a few seconds, roll to your side. Roll to your side and stand up. And take a few steps. And in standing, notice if you feel yourself differently. When you walk, does one shoulder feel wider, maybe lower? Does one side of the rib cage perhaps, or certain areas of the rib cage on one side feel wider than the other one? Does the stepping on one foot, one hip joint could feel quite different than the other? Because breathing is not a standalone function, it's always in the context of us doing whatever while we're alive. Lie back on your back, bend your knees, put your feet standing, bend your legs, and this time cross the left knee over the right. And just for 10 seconds, imagine doing the movement of tilting the knees to the left, turning the head to the left, and allowing the spine and the rib cage to mold to the movement. Very briefly. And now go ahead and do the movement. Tilt the knees to the left, turn the head to the left, open your eyes, and follow the movement. And notice if this side it feels quite different than the other one. It can be different because of what you just did to the other side. It can also be different if there's certain asymmetries or old injuries in the body. And now close your right eye and just follow as gently as you can, tilt to the left. And the next time you do it, switch the eyes. That means you're going to close the left eye and keep the right one open. And follow the ceiling, the wall, back up the wall. If you see the wall, depends also on the size of the room. You might be even looking at the floor. And now do the movement with both eyes. And the next time you do the movement, take the head in the opposite direction. That means the knees are going to continue tilting to the left, but the head and the eyes are going to look at the ceiling and then the wall to the right. And feel if you start perhaps sensing more movement in different areas of your torso. That means the chest from in front, the back, the ribs in the back, the spine. Like you start, I look here at the lead that's doing the movement, and she starts looking more and more like Play-Doh that has been warmed up a bit. And now close your your left eye and continue doing the movement. Look only through the right eye as you take the knees to the left and the head to the right. And then switch the eyes and do it with the other, looking out of the other eye. And now, get hold with your left hand, your right wrist in front, and tilt the knees to the left and take the head to the left and pull and lengthen the arms sideways, not up and not down, directly sideways. It calls upon the rib cage to move in a very specific way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking it up or down, but for this, the purpose of this lesson, we're doing it directly to the side. And now each time you do the movement, turn the head to your right. So the knee and the arms are going to the left, the head and the eyes are going to the right. And now put your arms down, not the legs, the arms down, and simply tilt the knees to the left and turn the head to the left and look to the left. Everything goes to the left, and feel if it's a little different than a few minutes ago. And straighten your legs, spread them comfortably. Take a few seconds to feel how you're lying. Feel the movement of breathing. Feel if that feels a little different than before. And now, with your mouth closed, breathe in through your nose. And then once you're done inhaling, open your mouth wide and very slowly, with the slightest, weakest flow of air, let the air come out and count the same rhythm as you did before. And notice, first of all, the quality, the feeling of breathing, the feeling, the sensation, the feeling of the movement of breathing. And then, of course, notice if it became a little longer. Perhaps yes, perhaps no. But just notice for yourself. See if you can let the chest sink a little easier. You can let the whole torso become accommodate to the action of exhalation. A little differently. Seemingly small changes over a short period of time can make a huge difference. And now slowly roll to your side. And stand up. And first of all, take a few seconds to stand and feel whether the way you stand, your posture, the way you stand is maybe a little different. You might feel spontaneously more upright. You might feel spontaneously a little bit more forward and up. Some of you may feel that the chest now is hanging rather than being held actively by some muscles, that the spine is tall and the chest is free to hang and move, perhaps a bit differently or more than before. And now walk around and just feel the feeling in the hip joints. Feel if the hip joints feel perhaps smoother, like say they've been oiled a bit. And any other sensation or feeling you have that is different. And in the next few hours, I suggest that if you feel something different than usual, perhaps twisting is easier, whatever, not just regarding breathing, take note. Just become aware. There's nothing to do about it. Just become aware. So this is the end of our first neuro movement lesson in this program. I would like to remind you that you can do the body scan. It starts about 6 minutes before the start of the lesson. And I'll see you next session. Thank you very much for participating.
Hello, can we, it looks like, are we okay, James? I think we're, oh, okay. So, sorry for the technical problems today. We really appreciate your patience on this. We haven't done anything quite like this before, and we had a connection issues with it and a bunch of different issues like that. But the good news is that within an hour or so, if you want to redo the program, because you might want to do it 1 or 2 more times before the next session, we'll have an edited version on it. So with all of the, starting at the proper time with the scan just before that. Remember, do the body scan before every time you do one of the lessons. You get more value out of the program. And then the other thing too is that we'll start again tomorrow, 4 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Pacific Time. And we're hoping that we're going to have a perfect start for that. Now, what that means is show up about 6 minutes beforehand, do the body scan on the floor because you're going to get more value out of it. Then we'll go right into the lesson. And between now and then, notice any shifts that are going on in your body, like Anat may have just said now, because you want to notice those shifts, because if you can notice tiny shifts, you'll tend to notice the bigger shifts, and you'll have a grander result as a result of going through these programs. Now, if you, let's see, I think that's about it for now. Again, thank you for your patience. We just are so happy that you're here, and we're sorry that we may have let you down at the beginning of the program. We'll do our best for tomorrow, and we'll see you again tomorrow. 4 o'clock Pacific, Central Time, 2 o'clock Pacific Time for the second session of the Neuromovement Healing Fast. We're here for 9 more sessions. So be back. See you. Thank you. Goodbye.